Thank you so much for joining me on a lovely sunny morning. I've got the washing out, the birds fed, and I thought it was still a little bit frosty on the grass, so I'm doing a recording before I venture out to do some gardening. But lovely being able to go out in the sun. So I just, as ever, I think around things, and then things pop into my mind and think, oh, I must talk about that. And I'm starting with a little phrase: I am not a cabbage. Okay, probably a phrase that would be very acceptable if you were French and somebody was calling you mon petit chou, ma petit chou. Excuse the accent, apologies. But in English, thinking of somebody as a cabbage, it's not very flattering. And in this case, it was me thinking of me as a cabbage. And I can remember the exact situation, the exact setting when I actually said that out loud. I am not a cabbage. The inference being that prior to that moment, maybe I had been a cabbage. And that moment had been a phone call from a local primary school that my sons went to, with the headmaster asking me if I would swap my voluntary work of listening to readers into a job working with a young man with special needs. And I thought, gosh, somebody needs me, somebody wants me, and I'm valued. Yeah, I was needed and maybe wanted as well by my family. We'd moved not long before into a house that we'd had to absolutely blitz, and it was a 3-story house, and I had spent weeks, months in decorating, arranging for carpets to be put down, sorting out builders, and making curtains for all of the rooms. It had been a mammoth task, and amongst that I was still transporting the boys to swimming, supporting them in cubs things, etc. Things that parents do. But those are things that are very often not valued. But they are so important when we're raising children, when we are looking after a house and making it a loving home in which those children can thrive and be nourished. What more important can you get than that? But as I had remembered that, and the setting, it was in fact in front of the kitchen sink, which I think says it all. Was I, like so many others, not valuing what I had done? And only when I was being offered a job that actually came with payment, with remuneration, did that show my true worth? It must have done. And I don't like that in myself. I know that when I retired, I had to be very careful not to go down to the I am becoming a cabbage mode. And I'm always busy, I'm always doing things. Yes, things like gardening, going out for walks, but hey, you're allowed to do that when you're retired. And it's taken a lot of self-talk and talking with a friend who feels very similar, that we're allowed to do that. It's fine. We earned the right by years of hard work. But then I started doing these little recordings, And that gave me a purpose. Okay, not a paid purpose, but I was interacting with people on other than a social level. And that means the world to me. So don't put yourself down. Head high, shoulders back. Value what you do, even if it might be frowned upon by others as a menial task. At one time, when we had one of our spells up in Yorkshire, I was working as a cleaner for 2 different people. And as the wife of an RAF officer, I really couldn't tell the run-of-the-mill other officers' wives that I was a cleaner, because they would have looked down their noses at me. I know they would. My friends knew, and they were fine. It was legal, decent, and it was honest. So no matter what you do, don't put yourself down. We all add value to our lives, to this world of ours. And that value doesn't always come with a monetary label, though so very often that is the only one that people tend to consider. I did have a phone call from my long-time ex-husband when he said, "How much are you worth?" And having said it's none of your business, he said, "Yes, but what are you worth?" I said, "Okay, I'm worth having helped a lot of people through counselling, having helped with the education of..." No, he interrupted. "I mean, what are you really worth? How much money have you got in the bank?" That said it all. So, value yourself. Value others. Be kind to yourself. Take care. Thank you for joining me. Speak to you soon. Bye.